Okay, looks like we are live with YouTube now. Um, we've got just a few minutes. We're going to start right at 8 o'clock. Just want to make sure that everybody uh, has their morning beverage, whatever you use to help get cranked up and started. Just a little bit of a warning, we have my cat Monty is in the office. He's 18 and a half. If he decides he wants cat treats or water or just attention, he might start crying. So we might end up having him wander in, and I'll take the time to introduce you at that point. Um, if not, I'm sure he'll show up at some point. All right. Uh, we had some We've got a couple of minutes. I'll just kind of give a little bit of background on what's been happening recently with the weather and everything. For anyone who's in North Carolina, over the weekend we had some snow and freezing rain and all that other stuff. I was actually at my Asheville office last Thursday, Friday. And so we ended up also having a celebration of life on Saturday that my wife and I were staying over for. And it became one of those things, should we leave right after it or should we spend the night? And it had been really a busy couple of days. So we decided to spend the night and ended up driving through some of that snow the next day. It was kind of took me back to when I was growing up in Rhode Island and ended up often driving in ice and snow and whatnot. So all of that training kind of came back. So it was good to see that those skills didn't diminish. All right. So we're going to get started in just a minute. Well, all right. It's turned 8 o'clock. So I just wanted to put this out there. This is something that's been a success of mine as an estate planning attorney. But at the same time, this is really kind of for estate planners, but I think our clients will get some insight into why we seem to match up so well. So that's why I'm doing push and pull marketing for estate planners. Now, let me define estate planners first, because it's not just attorneys. This can mean financial advisors, in some cases, accountants, property and casualty insurance agents, life insurance agents. Doing estate planning and trying to get the right legal documents and the right strategy and having everything lined up ends up sometimes being a group effort, especially if you want it done as effectively as possible. So this is the marketing that we've seen work the most effectively. So I don't want to have this be limited just to estate attorneys. Again, on the client end, they'll see how we line up with them so well in our practice. And at the same time, the people who don't usually line up as well, it's because their goals and our goals tend to be different. And the marketing isn't really getting them into the office. All right. So my goal is to explain how my office's marketing gets us the best fit clients for the type of practice that I want, which isn't the way that most internet marketers run their businesses. I'm happier. My clients are happier. And potential clients who would not be happy are going to end up going somewhere else for these services. And that's 100% fine. You can't be the best estate planner for everyone. It doesn't work that way. So in the next 45 minutes or so, it may be less. It depends on how many stories I end up telling. We're going to review how most internet marketers target estate planning clients for the estate planners and why the return on investment is usually relatively weak. There are things that we do to pull in potential clients that we want to work with. I'll talk a little bit about those concepts. And at the same time, we push out clients who aren't a fit simultaneously while we're prepping the clients who are a fit to have a good, productive working session with us. Now, how your client process can deliver to your clients that you want. So, again, the process that we end up using in estate planning ends up being a really good fit for the type of clients we want in the type of practice that I have. And if you stay to the end, I'm going to go ahead and give you, we'll have a link to download the slides from the presentation. But at the same time, I'm going to get you a coupon code for our estate crash course, just in case you want to check out my style of presenting material on estate planning, particularly when it comes to things like using a revocable living trust as a way to avoid probate. So kind of stay till the end to make sure that you're getting that. All right. I'm the plain English attorney. That's really one of my biggest strengths is I talk to my clients in plain English. I don't do what I call code talking. Well, according to code section, whatever, in the Ghibli case and blah, blah, blah. No, look, attorneys can talk that way to each other. They can talk to estate planners can talk that way to each other, but you don't want to talk that way to your clients because what we do every day isn't what our clients do every day. That's kind of been my biggest strength, I think. And I've been an estate planning attorney for 25 years. I am still a national lecturer if we ever get back to national conferences on estate and even Medicaid planning topics. I've authored more than 9 books that are up on Amazon, and they're kind of, short, maybe guides is a better way to put it. It's not really thick, dense material that covers everything. It's covering concepts and things that my clients may want. For example, Medicaid planning. Oh my gosh, that could be a huge book if you're trying to get into all of the details. My book, The Long-Term Care Solution, I think it's under 100 pages. Again, it's in plain English, and it's just covering some of the basics. These books are designed to give people a brief, to the point, plain English background on things so that they can then look for more details if they want, or at least be able to work productively and efficiently with a planner in that particular field. And we've started creating and producing online courses that are available at at plainenglishattorney.com. That's kind of the clearinghouse. The course that I mentioned is the estate crash course. That's of course probably the first one that a lot of our clients may want to use. Now, I've got my book, Estate Planning Basics, and then there's the Estate Crash Course. The material is similar. We do a lot more in-depth stuff and have a lot of extras that are up on the video course. It's pretty easy to just add stuff to the Estate Crash Course when things pop up. It's not so easy to redo a book and do another version and get it out to people, especially if they've already purchased the book. All right. And my story, how did I get into this field? I'll keep it quick. It's my grandmother. My grandfather and my grandmother moved in with me and my sister and my father after my mom passed on. And they raised us for a couple of years. My father was a busy doctor. He's still a busy doctor. But my grandparents basically moved in and helped raise me. And I went away to college. And that summer between undergrad and law school, my grandfather passed on. And I ended up getting into law school. And my grandmother started calling me with all of these questions about probate, Um, it was day 2 of law school. Like, granny, I just got here. But I learned pretty quickly the most frequent answer you ask a first year law student, they're going to say, I don't know. Let me look it up in the law library. And so I'm running around the law library trying to get answers to her questions. And she's calling me about every other week or so. And suddenly I realized, wait a minute, it's been a year and a half and the questions are still coming. She's calling me because I'm not giving her a bill and an answer she doesn't understand. I'm explaining it as plainly as I can in English. Here's what I think is going on. Here are the specific things to ask your attorney. Okay. I started thinking that there's got to be a way to avoid all of this. And that led me to a book called The Living Trust by Henry W. Apps III. It's still out there on Amazon. It's not in active print at the moment, but you can still get copies. It's a really good text if you ignore the tax numbers that are in there. But that book, and here's how you can avoid the mess, that set me on a course for wanting to do estate planning. And at the same time, my theory of my practice, what I wanted to do was reach clients who want their families to be able to avoid a legal mess. They were more interested in planning ahead, getting it done correctly and as completely as possible. And they wanted to be informed, but in plain English. That's the segment I wanted to work with. And that's how I ended up setting up the marketing. So we'll get into this a little bit more. So really you can kind of learn the easy way or the hard way. Again, I've been doing this for more than 25 years now. I've always been on my own as an attorney and a business owner. So you can take some of this and benefit from it without having to stumble along the way I have. All right. So I always put in this disclaimer. If I end up with some quote legal information, look, it's not legal advice. We don't have attorney-client privilege. Let me just read this. Legal advice and perspectives among attorneys may vary, and legal advice is often different for different situations and for different people and purposes. For specific legal advice related to your particular situation, please contact an attorney in your state or jurisdiction. Copyright 2002, all rights reserved. All right, we got that out of the way. So let's start talking about the push and pull marketing strategy. You don't want as many clients as possible. You want more of the clients you want and less of the potential clients you don't want. You might have heard the 80-20 rule. If you haven't, here's what it is in a nutshell. 80% of your revenue will come from 20% of your clients. The inverse is also true, that 80% of your headaches will come from a largely different 20% of your clients. Now, that's, quote, the rule, but it's definitely movable if you can set up your processes and also your marketing to get to the right clients. You're expanding on the 20% that's bringing you the 80% of the revenue, but at the same time, you're cutting out as much of that 20% that's going to give you the headaches as possible. You want clients who are going to line up with your values, your work ethic, and what you want to provide. Again, going back to that story, with doing all of my research and trying to get information to my grandmother in plain English, I wanted to be able to talk to my clients in plain English. I want to work with clients who want to plan ahead to avoid problems, and they want to understand what the process is. So that's what I want. Now, on the marketing end, you might have had a different experience. Maybe you're doing something a little different, but most internet marketers are going to do what is easily measurable rather than what's most effective. Now, by that I mean it's for them, it's demographics. Oh, what does your current, what's your ideal client look like? How old are they? What type of net worth do they have? Are they in specific zip codes? It's because they're trying to figure out, all right, these are the quote market segments that we can tailor a message to. Now, what I know is it really isn't about demographics. There can be a kind of minimum and for where clients usually, and I stress that usually land in terms of like a minimum net worth if they want to do revocable trust planning versus just a simple will setup. But I know what brings people in isn't their demographics or where they live or what their net worth is. What brings them in is there was a situation, there was a crisis, there was something that happened to someone they knew or they were close to, and they saw a mess and want to avoid it. That's what is usually bringing the clients into us. It's not the demographics, it's the situation. So when you've got these different types of potential clients, you're going to end up the ones that we're looking for. They want quality over price. They want peace of mind. In the end, that's really what they want to quote buy from you. They want peace of mind. Okay. There are others, they just want to check a box. They want it done easily, quickly, cheaply. That's it. Just, okay, I'm taking care of this. They don't necessarily care if they understand everything. They just, well, this is what we're supposed to do. Let's go ahead and do it. Let's get it done. That's generally not the clients we work with the most. We can, and it becomes very apparent if they're still coming in and they're still sitting down with us and they go, look, and I'll get to this as part of the process. We read your book, we filled out the paperwork. I don't think probate's a big deal. I don't. Let's just go ahead and get this done simply. Okay, we can still work with them. Thing is, they know about the alternatives at that point. Again, specific demographics or professions. There are some estate planners that specifically look to people in specific professions or in a specific field. Gosh, this is going way, way back. A financial advisor that I know worked very, very closely and focused in on people in the gaming industry, whether it was back to the old gaming systems, PlayStation, Xbox, whatnot. And now things tend to be online a lot more. But he worked with the people who are more on the artistic end of some very popular games going way back. And those are the clients he liked to work with. Okay. What were some of the characteristics of that demographic? They didn't necessarily get paid a lot in terms of salary, and their work schedule was kind of like very light for the first several months of the year, but then it gears up and they're trying to get everything ready for a Christmas sale until they're working more than 80 hours a week, taking naps under the desk and whatever. And so they end up with huge bonuses at the end of the year or within, first couple of months in when they see how the sales went. All right, that's the demographic he worked with in those professions. There are some people, lowest price. That's it. They're calling around. Hey, how much do you charge for will? We don't do that because we're not trying to do lowest price, highest volume. That's not what we're looking for. Again, we want to work with the clients who want quality. They want to solve the problems ahead of time and they want to understand things. And I put the last one I had here, intellectuals and quote wafflers. For them, it's more about having an intellectual discussion and learning about this, even if they don't ever really do anything. And when I say wafflers, I've had this happen where they come in, they sit down with me. It's like, okay, here it is. Are you ready to go? Well, no, we're talking with another attorney. All right. They go and talk to the other attorney, tell them what I said. And they come back to me and they go, yeah, we want to sit down and meet with you. This was the days when it was meeting with me for free. And they go, yeah, we want to meet with you again for free. We've got some follow-up questions. All right, if you sit down with them again for free, well, this attorney said this and they said this. What do you say? And we go through it. And well, okay, yeah, we're not ready to go yet. We're going to talk with the other attorney. No, they're never going to end. We cut it off and we have a paid first session because we want them to be genuine. Again, we're going to get to more on the process of things in a bit. All right, so advertising versus attracting, big thing. Again, demographics to advertisers, age, income, home ownership, net worth, parental status, and sometimes race and gender. Those are easy things to market to because that information is available to online marketers. They can have certain lists and they can even go through Facebook ads to target a lot of these things, or Google Adwords to target a lot of these things. Again, it's easy for them to measure, but that's not necessarily lining up with the people who are most interested in the services that you might be able to provide as an estate planner. Again, most people seek estate planning around crises. Something's happened. And by crisis, I don't mean it necessarily needs to be immediate. Their uncle died. Okay. Their uncle died 3 years ago. Well, that's not an immediate thing. Their uncle died 3 years and they just wrapped up probate 2.5 years after he died, and it was a mess. And we don't want that to happen to our family. All right. But it was that initial crisis that brought them in. People who are looking for estate planning, there's generally some crisis or life change that's causing them to say, all right, we need to do this estate planning, or we need to update things and we need to be more serious about it. Okay. People seek information around estate planning rather than people responding to marketing. I put in daytime TV commercials. One of the biggest advertisers for daytime TV, especially certain types of programs, you might remember this phrase, have you been injured in an accident? You may be entitled to a large cash award. So they're trying to draw in from that audience because they're more likely to, but realistically, what percentage of the audience watching that TV program has been in an accident? Not a huge amount, but they do have some kind of crisis where that makes sense for them to reach out. But these days, people are seeking information. So what my firm has done is put out information for the types of clients we're looking for to find and read and absorb and understand. So it's not paid advertising. It's putting out the information. Now, this is not to knock doing some paid advertising around it, but if you start with that mindset, okay, we need to reach certain people, let's put out an advertisement to bring them in, as opposed to, hey, here's some information that's really going to be helpful to people who are looking into the estate planning process. Let's put that out there and then maybe do a little advertising to boost that particular information. We've got a YouTube video channel. I mean, you're on it right now if you're watching this. It's through YouTube. Uh, I don't have a ton of views on the average video. I really don't. But the number of clients who came in and became trust planning clients have said at least half the time, if not more, when they came to us through Google or they put internet or they even might put YouTube, they've seen videos, they've commented, they've seen videos, and they were gathering information. This is an important thing to keep in mind. I think it might even be first now, but Google, I think it used to be the biggest search engine for people trying to find out how to do things. Just keep that in mind, how to do things. YouTube was second. I believe YouTube has actually overtaken Google in terms of, again, how do you do something? Because people want the video to actually see how it's done. So with that type of search engine, why wouldn't you as an estate planner want to have some good, solid information out there? So now, one other thing, just as a note, and this will probably keep growing over the years, and my video that I'm doing right now might end up being more obsolete. Advertising to people who search certain terms is a paid exception. So if someone searched revocable living trust, there are ways to capture that, and now they will get advertised to. If you're wondering why, well, wait a minute, I just purchased something on Amazon, and now you're going into some other app or Facebook or whatever, and you're seeing advertisements for it, well, they found that you searched for that term and they're trying to sell you more. All right, so now that's advertising versus attracting. So how does my office pull in clients? I mentioned it, videos on specific topics. Things like, what are the 4 big downsides of probate? We're also doing things about specific tax subjects, how to work with real estate within a revocable living trust, especially for things like sales or refinances or purchases. We do articles and posts and newsletters around the same thing. So we also do social media, webinars, and in the past we've done seminars, and we may get back to that format as well, live in person. Now, we also have referral partners who are well-versed on what we do. But let me go back to the videos, articles, and posts, social media, webinars. We try to do as much of that in a coordinated way as possible. All right. We will often start with articles that we're going to have in our newsletter, which are also going to be posted to my law firm website. So, okay, there's the topic. All right, I'll also do a video on that. Okay, maybe we're not starting with that. Maybe it's a little bit of a broader topic, and I'm doing a webinar on it. Well, okay, I can do that webinar. I'm talking for 45 minutes to an hour on a broad subject, and that might touch on 1 or 2 things that we can cut into a video for YouTube. And then from there, do an article and a post. So it sounds like an awful lot, but if you can coordinate it, you're really cutting down on this. It's not like there's something separate. And social media, a lot of that is just advertising. Hey, check out this post. Hey, check out this video. So it all works together. The other stuff is just on social media. We do have someone in my office and a contract person who will post stuff and put it up. Great. Uh, Now, referral partners who are well versed on what we do, that does bring in a good amount of clients, but I can tell you a lot of them are also at least checking out the videos that we put together. All right, so let's talk a bit about how do we push against the people who wouldn't be a good fit for us. And I want to put it that way. I'm not trying to put anybody down. I'm just saying it's not necessarily a right fit for us. Again, we're looking for those clients who want to be good and thorough. They don't mind paying more for having the end result of peace of mind, and they're willing to do it as a longer process so that they understand it. That's where we fit up. No price quotes over the phone. Zero. Well, can you give me a ballpark? No. Well, I'm calling around to other. Okay, keep calling. What we do is we send out a pre-appointment packet and a questionnaire. They need to fill out the questionnaire and get it back to us before their appointment. They need to read the book that corresponds to what they want. Let's just use, again, estate planning as the main thing. They have to read Estate Planning Basics. It's only like 65, 70 pages, and it's in plain English. And there are even a few, because of the way it's structured, there are a few blank pages. I mean, it's not a lot, but it's good, to the point information, so that when they come in, they're going to know pretty quickly, do they want to go the will route or they want to go the revocable living trust route to avoid probate? Here are the different problems with probate. Do they think that's a big enough deal that they want to avoid those problems and go the trust route? Or it's, no, probate's no big deal, or maybe someday, but not yet. We'll go the will route. They know that. I don't have to spend a ton of time going over the difference between a will and a trust and what is probate and all that other stuff. That's all in the book. It gets right to the point. Thing is, again, where's the push part? If they're not willing to fill out the questionnaire and read the book, then I know they're not going to be a good fit. Probably the other thing is, we put in the book, here's a price range for this type of trust package. And we put it in several places. If they come in and say, well, what's the difference between a will and a trust? Or they look shocked when we end up going through, okay, here's what the cost is. They didn't read the book. Fine. They're not a good fit. About 50%, might be a little less nowadays, but the number used to be about 50% of people who signed up for a first appointment, got their packet and book. They probably read the price and said, nah, this isn't what we want to do. Hey, that's fine. I don't need or want to try to convince people of a certain mindset that they should be using our services. It's not my job to convince anyone of what their priorities are. My job as an estate planner is to attract those clients that are going to be a really good fit for me and filter out the ones who wouldn't be. So for me, price quotes over the phone, oh no. Well, just give me a range. No. Let me tell you what typically happens. And the last time I did this was a financial advisor who wanted to do their own stuff. Okay, financial advisor, I'm telling you this for your clients. Here's what this costs for a simple will package. Here's what the cost is for the revocable living trust package. This is what we call the Trust Plus, meaning there's generational protection, so the money has to go to the grandkids, and for the kids, it's immune from lawsuits and bankruptcy and divorcing spouses and things like that. And then we've got, okay, this is the premier this is irrevocable trust, lawsuit shields, all this complicated stuff. If you give a range, $900 up to $25,000, guaranteed at least 50%, if not 75% of the time, somewhere between that, they're going to want a higher package, but they're only going to remember the lowest price. But you said 900. No, we don't play with that. And if you're giving price quotes over the phone, the practice you have isn't the kind that we want. What you want is quick, to the point, check the box, volume, and you're competing on price. If that's what you want, great. We're not going to compete on price when our goal is to provide really good peace of mind, complete planning that's going to avoid problems down the road. So there's that filtering out of those clients who wouldn't be a good fit. I'm just checking to make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay. I want to make sure that I at least cover how does the client process deliver and get them what you want to do as well as what they want. The process we have, once they come in other words, all right, the marketing piece is kind of done, but now they're signing up. We have that estate strategy session. They've signed up, right? We're going to do an estate summary meeting where it's just the overview. It's in writing. Here's the top level stuff, but now you're seeing it in black and white. There's an opportunity to make changes. It's going to put the documents in context. Once we have those changes, then we'll go ahead and send them the drafts of the documents. I've seen a lot of attorneys just go from, okay, we'll get the documents and send it over to you. If it's as complete as what we have, that's a lot of information. It's information overload. And I've seen people just completely shut down. That intermediate step, that extra meeting, is going to make it so much easier for them to have a summary to now put the documents in context. So then we do the document review meeting, see what questions or changes they have based on what they've looked through in the documents. Then we'll go over to, we're going to go over, I'm sorry, I just completely lost track there. All right. So then we'll go over any potential changes and just get to the signing. So then the signing is a meeting after that. Oh, wait a minute, that's 4 meetings. Yeah, but okay, that's fine. That's what's working to give them enough information that they're comfortable at each stage without having to get information overload. All right, they've signed the documents. Then we have a separate meeting about how do you, quote, fund your trust. So we're going account by account, asset by asset on what needs to be done to make it work with the overall strategy that you put in place with that trust. So it's a separate meeting just to go over that. And that's, trust funding is critical. I can't tell you how many times I've had clients come in, they moved in from out of state. Usually it's been referred by a financial advisor who they've started working with them. They go, oh, you've got a trust. And then they look and they go, well, why weren't any of their accounts in the trust? The trust is to avoid probate, but your accounts have to be in the, you've got to talk to Jeff. So we have so many clients that come in with unfunded trusts that we almost have to kind of start over with the concepts and the process. But that's how we end up getting them really good information. And at that trust funding meeting, it's a whole meeting in itself so that we're not glossing it over. Like, unfortunately, I think a lot of attorneys do just gloss that part of it over. And then after the trust funding meeting, after we give them their the trust funding recommendations, we do something that's called a family review meeting. All right, so with the family review meeting, they can bring in whomever they want. And I go through, here's what the different documents are, here's what they do. Go ahead, let them ask questions, give them answers. And this is actually a really good exercise uh, for the people who are going to be who are going to be those trustees down the line. They're the ones who are going to have to grab the binder and call and start getting stuff done if they either pass on or become incapacitated or there's a health crisis and they're unconscious. They're the ones who typically have to do something. So they're the ones that end up in the meeting. If it's not the kids, the beneficiaries who are also those potential trustees, usually then the kids are left out. It's more about those trustees. But that's our process. And then annually, we should be meeting just to make sure we're staying on top of, if anything, that they didn't pull their money out and go somewhere else and the account that was in the name of the trust in the old place, oh, they just went and the bank just set it up in their names. No, no, no. It's got to keep working with the trust. All right. So the estate crash course, I always like to just offer something if you're attending a webinar. In this case, it's a YouTube live. You've probably spent about 45 minutes. So I'm going to give you a coupon code. If you go to estatecrashcourse.com, you can get it. The coupon code, and this is only guaranteed through the end of January 2022. So if you're seeing a replay, this isn't going to fit. The coupon code is push-pull30. So if you sign up for the estate crash course, you get 30% off with that code push-pull30, all caps. After starting February 1, that coupon code isn't going to work anymore, but keep checking back. There might be other offers. All right. And as for the slides that I promised, that's going to go up in the updated YouTube description once it's set with YouTube. In other words, it's been screened and it's going to stay up because it meets YouTube's. We're going to have a link just to download those slides in there. So, all right. So other resources that are out there, again, the estate crash course. We've also got a course on trust funding. This might actually be valuable for professionals out there just to simplify trust funding, because even some of the top people that I've seen who are estate planners, I mean, even attorneys, financial advisors, well, should it be in the trust? Should it be set up with pay on death beneficiaries? All the concepts. Trustfundingcourse.com. This is a resource that I can imagine we offer a plan for our trust clients. It's okay, for this annual price, you get this benefit, this benefit, this benefit, and you're getting access to all our courses, including the one on trust funding. I can see the trust funding be the one that they're going to go to and check out things the most, just to make sure that if they're opening a new account or shifting stuff over, or what do we do, that's going to be the easiest place to get a quick answer. Now, I mentioned the book, The Living Trust by Henry W. Apps III. It's a 2002 edition, available on Amazon. Almost guaranteed it's used. It's from a reseller. Just ignore the tax numbers that are in there, but the concepts are just as applicable today as they were when I read this book way back when I was in law school. And hey, you want a free report? We've got the 6 keys to successfully planning your estate report at 6keysreport.com. Just go ahead and put your information in. You get that for free. All right, so I'm going to jump over and see if we have any questions. Please go ahead and write down your questions. There's a little bit of a lag between StreamYard and YouTube, so we're going to see where that is. But go ahead, if you've got something in the chat, go ahead and put in a question. Otherwise, we're going to close out a little bit early. All right. Just so that it's not complete silence, let me throw out, um, let's see, I've tried Google AdWords. I actually had a lot of success with Google AdWords going back 6 or 7 years. And then they just changed the algorithm so completely that you had to hire somebody. You couldn't just keep up on this on your own without it almost becoming a full-time job. And what ended up happening is we did hire someone and it brought in all the wrong people. They were tire kickers. They were competing on price, and it didn't work for us. I also hear about, oh, you need to do mailings and dinners for seminars. The estate planners who generally do this, it's more financial advisors, just because in some cases they can have huge, uh, a huge quote sale on even one or two or clients that they get from a dinner seminar, to the point where it pays for all of that stuff. So they'll do the nice mailings, have a steak dinner and all this other stuff, and it ends up working out okay. Uh, yeah, we've gotten a couple of clients that way over the years. We've done some of these seminars in conjunction with financial advisors where it probably worked out a lot more for them than on our end. And look, that's fine if that works. What I'm seeing more of each year, up until because of the bug, other stuff happening, I'm not seeing it be as effective. Each year it just gets a little less effective. So putting out the good information in webinars, that's really worked for us. And that's what we're going to keep doing. All right. Well, I'm not seeing any other questions in the Q&A session. If you do have other questions, either I or Janelle will respond. So please go ahead and put it into the comments on YouTube if you're watching this as a playback. And like I tell my clients, look, stay safe, plan ahead, and enjoy life. But whatever you do, make it a great day. Thank you.